Hello, Santa Fe. I'm Carlene, and welcome to Living Santa Fe. We're at the heart of Santa Fe, La Fonda Hotel, the oldest one in the United States, and probably the most spectacular. We've done a show with La Fonda, and they've done everything that they possibly can to reopen this hotel. And they've done a wonderful job. We're on the Terrazas room right now. And I got to tell you, if anybody's interested in having lunch here, it's open, there's open air, lots of room. They have a wonderful lunch. I would highly recommend it. And we're so happy that Ed Pulsifer, who's one of the directors here, has opened it up to Channel 16 for another television interview on Santa Fe's revival. And today's guests represent Santa Fe Opera.
Opera Guild.
Opera Guild.
The Opera Guild. And I can't tell you, whoops, there's a bee. I can't tell you how nice it is to have people here from the opera that are representing it, because this is one of the big cultural things we have in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
And because of the COVID disaster, we had to close the opera. And what a loss to Santa Fe. But you guys are very innovative. So today they're going to talk about it's called Meet the Artist, Sam I Am. Who's Sam I Am?
Sam is Samuel Ramey.
Okay. Now Martha
Baker.
You are president
Of the Santa Fe Opera Guild.
Santa Fe Opera Guild. And Veronica Reed is a friend of mine since 1959. And you moved back to New Mexico. You were with, your husband was an opera singer, and you were also with the Met.
I was with the Met Guild.
That's right. So that's a pretty big deal, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it's the greatest show on earth, and it only operates until the end of mid-May, and not long after that, the festivals begin, and one of the nation's top festivals is the Santa Fe Opera.
That's right. It's one of the best in the country, in the
It
world.
is,
In the
right.
world. In the world. How bad has this hurt the industry? How bad has this pandemic hurt the industry?
I cannot tell you how sad it is, because most artists, most singers, they don't have permanent positions. The singers, the artists themselves, are freelancers for the most part, and there are a few. Like my husband was what they call a house singer at the Metropolitan Opera. You know, he sang supporting roles and all this, and so he was able to get a pension. But this is not possible for many people, and the unions are working hard to find ways to make it, to help out the artists who are not, they don't figure in the packages that the government is talking about. And we're doing our part. Martha can tell you the Sam I Am program. Sam is one of the leading, I mean, he is opera's superstar, an international superstar, and he is helping us by lending himself for an interview, and we will hopefully we'll be able to help some of the artists, because we weren't able to have a season. And Martha could tell you more about how that's accomplished.
Okay. Martha, tell us about...
Well, I'll start 6 years ago. It was my first summer here in Santa Fe, and I met a young apprentice singer named Jack Swanson, and we became friends. Jack was going to be our Count Almaviva in The Barber of Seville this summer here in Santa Fe. This young singer has been aced out of every job in 2020, and stretching into 2021 now. We don't know the next time Jack is going to be able to sing. And the Santa Fe Opera, unlike some other companies, is providing partial compensation for the singers, the instrumentalists, and the backstage technicians who were slated to come here this summer. When they had to cancel the season, some very generous donors stepped up and put together a $3 million matching grant so that any gift is matched one for one. And we're able to affiliate with that in this event. So any gift that's given to the opera in conjunction with this event is going to double the donor's money. And a good portion of that is going to the compensation fund for these singers, instrumentalists, and technicians.
Wonderful. Veronica, tell me a little bit about Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi was an apprentice artist here at the Santa Fe Opera in 1966, and I'm trying to remember. I think I might have been a dresser here that summer and not even noticed this young man, but he was beginning his career, which the career really came about through hard work and study. I mean, he was thorough trained. It wasn't a matter of luck and sponsorship and all that stuff. He worked very hard, and by 1976 he came here as the Toreador Escamillo in Carmen, in Bizet's Carmen. And we hope to you might get to hear on the Sam I Am program, you might get to hear just a bit of his of the Toreador song. And from Santa Fe, from then on, he went to New York City Opera and Europe. He did quite a long stint in Europe and learned he learned his German and his Italian, in the places where they're spoken. He always knows or always knew, because he's retired now. He always knew what he was doing. A very admirable artist and conscientious artist. And he went at New York City Opera, they took him under wing, and he was very fortunate to have the same repertory as another artist who was a star at the old New York City Opera. And when that artist was no longer able to do it, Sam took over some of these roles that have really made him famous.
Can you kind of give me an idea? I should never ask age. How old is this man? Would you guess?
I'd say he's about my age, and I'm not telling.
Well, I know how old you are.
Yeah, we're the same age, right?
In fact, I just had a birthday, and Leroy, her husband, who is an opera singer at the Met, sang happy birthday to me over the phone. That's the first time that ever happened to me. I've had a lot of people sing happy birthday, but it was usually at a party place. But I've never had an opera singer, so I got you.
And of course, Sam went from New York City Opera across the plaza to the Met. Mm-hmm. And opera's a very small world. The singers go to Europe from the big opera companies to another, and they know each other. They work together. It's a wonderful family, and Sam was very popular at the Met. My husband appeared with him in a few operas.
Veronica, in your new press release, somebody says that Ramey has the darkest, rarest, and most caloric of rich chocolates. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, I think it evokes in anybody, right, I mean, I happen to love the lower voices, and chocolate is a beautiful way to express it. But chocolate also sounds thick. And as Martha was just pointing out, his what they call coloratura is amazing. He does rolls. That's a flexibility that many singers don't have, and he can do both the low notes, which is a very beautiful sound, and the very agile coloratura that some rolls demand.
Now you were talking about the bel canto.
Bel canto, yes.
Tell me.
Bel
what
canto
that
is a style of singing. It was very popular in the early 19th century. It was made, it sort of had a comeback with artists like Marilyn Horne and Samuel Ramey.
They are best friends, by the way.
Interesting.
And he has a rare ability to sing that bel canto music, lots of notes for the layman, with incredible flexibility and accuracy. He's also, pardon me, incredible stage presence. I got to see him when I was a season ticket holder in San Francisco for many years. And I saw him sing the role of Mephistopheles. And he embodied the devil. He was up there and you could tell he was having a blast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. When somebody enjoys that makes it wonderful for the audience.
He even specialized in devils. And he can talk about that, I'm sure, on this interview.
Now, this man is not going to appear in person. He's going to appear on what you call a webinar.
Webinar.
Okay, a webinar. And that is a Zoom? Is it like a Zoom?
It is, except it's more like a presentation. You'll see him and the interviewer, although we will lead in with, with a little more to make it interesting, because as people come in and to watch, and they can't speak yet, but they can be sitting there thinking of questions to ask, and later in the interview they'll be able to ask any questions that they have.
Okay.
Maybe not all of them, but some of them.
They call it a webinar because it's a seminar that's given
I
over
got
the
on the
web.
web. Good.
I am such a technique on anything like that. So I'm finding it of interest. Now that streams in, correct?
Yes. That is using streaming technology.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the person that will be doing the interviewing is Corey Ellison.
Yes.
Tell me about Corey.
Well, I've known Corey. She was at New York City Opera for many years. I think she started there as an extra chorister, I think she said. And she sings. As a matter of fact, she appeared in Opera Southwest a few years ago in Chaniskiki and was wonderful. She also knows more than anyone else in the business, I think, about opera. And she's famous for her super titles. Once upon a time, you could only see opera in the original language, and people, that sort of kept people away. And then all of a sudden, they came up with super titles where somebody can read along while the singer is singing, and it makes such a difference. But it needs to be a good, it needs to be a good translation. And Corey has done many of those that are used all over the country, or wherever somebody wants to do it in English. And she teaches at the Juilliard school. She's on the faculty of the Juilliard School. And as I say, I knew her years ago in New York, and she put together one of the most fabulous panels of people for the opera Vanessa. That it was really heart-stopping to have those. She could assemble. She knows everybody in the business, and she could assemble.
So she does a number of things with it. She's
A dramaturg.
yes. Okay.
That's
That's
a-
another term. Tell
yeah.
me what that is.
It's a very it's a term that nobody quite understands, because they do so many things. They help shape. It's more common in Europe. Houses have dramaturgs. But it just helps keep the integrity of this production. You know, it's translations. It's she can explain it better, and maybe she will explain more.
Yeah. What's this librettist?
Oh, the librettist is the person who writes the words.
Okay. And she
And-
does that.
No.
She doesn't.
Well, she works with librettists
Okay.
And
on
she's
new operas.
she's teaching people at Juilliard how to do libretto. She has a program teaching people how to write a libretto.
Okay.
Excuse me, Martha.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad, because you know, I see so many things on it. They'll talk in the newspaper a lot of times about so and so. Well, I didn't care for the libretto part of that opera, or I didn't care for this. So
There's the
what
words and the music.
Okay. Okay.
And the librettist is the words, and the composer is the music.
Okay. Okay. How did you get your background in opera? Is it something you just?
I think it started having been raised as a Roman Catholic
Okay.
and hearing sacred music in church and developing an appreciation for the human voice.
Yes.
And then a friend of mine said, if you like that music, you'll like opera. And
That's right.
he took me to the opera. And we had, I was living in the Los Angeles area. We bought season tickets for the LA Opera. First year they were going. And the first performance I saw was Placido Domingo singing the role of Otello.
Oh wow!
Talk about starting at the top.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned being a Roman Catholic. I was raised in with the nuns, with the Sisters of Charity. They started me in a choir when I was in the 3rd grade. I had a fairly good voice then. You know, I've lost it now, but so all the way for years I was in this choir. We used to sing the Requiem Mass, and I
Yeah.
mean, we were good. We actually were really good. We were kids, but the nuns were so strict, and I learned to have a love for this too. Of course, now I use the Requiem Mass when I'm on the golf course and somebody misses a shot. I start singing the Requiem Mass.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Veronica, you were raised in Albuquerque. You went to UNM. You got
At the old Albuquerque High School.
the old Albuquerque High School.
And then UNM.
That's
yes.
right. And you had a degree in
Theater, a BFA, and I'm not even sure they still offer that. It's a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and it's more courses in your particular area. And I loved designing, and I played the piano. I did everything, and then I liked directing more than I liked acting. And then once I discovered opera, I said, "Oh, this is it. This is everything," you know. So. But I was a theater major, and we had a wonderful drama department at UNM, and I became an active alum when I was living in New York City. We had a tri-state chapter, and they brought me back out to New Mexico to be the representative on the alumni board, and so then I decided to talk my husband into moving back here, and
Yeah.
he was at the time, at the Metropolitan Opera, and he didn't retire until 2010. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that's all you've ever done in your life is work with this sort of thing. Ever since I've known you, you started your own company at one time, I believe.
Oh, that was great fun. Northern New England.
Yes.
And that's where I learned a lot of repertory. Trying to find things that would suit the few singers who were really good enough to do this.
So Santa Fe, we have a New Mexican here that's been working on this program. And how would one watch this? I know it's on Friday, August the 14th.
That's correct, at 5 p.m.
Okay, at 5 p.m. Now, how do you do this? How do you get onto this webinar?
The easiest way would probably be to go to the website
Okay.
for the Guilds of the Santa Fe Opera. The address is guildsofsfo.org.
Okay. And we will put that on our TV show too.
Click on Santa Fe and then click on events.
Okay.
And there's a link there where you can go and sign up.
Okay.
Because you have to sign up because we have to send you a link in order to watch the webinar on
Okay.
the 14th.
Now, for people that belong to the guild, free of charge.
That's correct.
If I wanted to tune in on this, how do you like those terms? Tune in. Tell my age. $10.
$10. Yes.
And-
Or
For $45.
Right.
Or 50 or 100.
no.
For $45 you can join the guild.
Oh.
And then it's
And it-
free. And all of our other programs.
see
are
this,
free.
and all year long you can see the rest of the
and
programs. We do a lot of
The
programs.
Santa Fe Opera Guild is pretty amazing.
I know it is.
We have almost 400 members, and that gives us the scale to do programs. We're going to do another program in September about the composer John Corigliano, who is writing or has written The Lord of Cries, which will be a world premiere here in Santa Fe next summer. We have an annual event called the Salon, where people get together and just have casual conversation about opera. We have other webinars in the hopper. They're under development right now, but we try to average once a month.
Okay, now, I'm not real informed on opera. I go once in a while. I've never really gotten into it as much as both of you have, I know. But I remember the founders of it.
The what?
The founders. L. Scott
Oh,
and many of those people that came from other states, came into Santa Fe and started the opera. Pat Wood, who designed the original opera, he was the architect on that. L. Scott, who was one of the founders of the guild. So there were many people that have now passed, but were responsible.
including John Crosby.
John
who-
Crosby,
who
absolutely.
who actually had the idea. He brought all the first artists in the
That's right.
60s, and it grew and grew. And one year there was a fire that burned the theater
right.
down, and within a year he had another theater built. I mean, the man nearly killed himself.
He was wonderful. He was
As
just
making
wonderful.
sure that it rose again for the next season.
He was a true visionary.
He was.
Okay, now I'm going to give how you register, and we will put it on television. https://tinyurl.com/SamIam2020, and we will put that on at the end of the program.
That's terrific.
Is that okay?
That's great.
Yes, you go to
Yes.
that address and it will walk you through signing up.
Okay. Would you like to sign off for us? Since this was your invention here, come on.
No,
You're the
not
one-
really. I just happen. I mean, we happen to
Veronica
know,
is being too modest.
No,
I know
we
she
have-
always is too
We have
modest, but
Sam Raimi, thanks to Veronica's.
that's
um,
right.
And thanks to the fact
Connections.
that he worked with my husband, and we happen to know that he's a very nice man, and so we said, well, why not? And we were very fortunate. He is a kind person. He has a great reputation. A quiet man, a kind person, and I know he's going to be thrilled to help his fellow artists. He always does wonderful things for other people, and we're very grateful.
Absolutely, because these people, through no fault of their own, have lost out on a lot of their own talent for this year. Hopefully next year it'll be back. But Santa Fe, tune in Friday, August the 14th, 5 o'clock p.m.
That's correct.
Okay.
And bring your champagne or your TGIF.
Okay. Okay. That's wonderful. And I would like to thank Santa Fe Community Television for this interview, and also to Ed Pulsifer, La Fonda manager, who always provides us this beautiful setting to do our interview. And thanks to Santa Fe.